What did Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to RiseUpReactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, lifelong sports enthusiast with a particular interest in football. And today I wanted to kind of talk a little bit deeper into the Falcons' 2022 NFL schedule. We finally have it here. We're about to enter into the desert of information known as the offseason. A lot of free agency moves have already been made. There are still some big ones that are happening now that it's kind of post-draft, and you're going to get more free agent moves as injuries occur in camps. But for the most part, things are kind of set, and now teams are really working with the pieces that they have, trying to get ready for the 2022 season. So, we're going to be competing, but we're going to be kneecapped again by our salary cap. We have 4 guys that are taking up about $62 million worth of dead cap out of our $208 million cap. So again, about a third of our cap space is going to players that don't exist on the team anymore. That's really going to hurt us this year, but next year we clear all of that and we should be much better. So look for us to not be great this year just because we are playing basically with one hand tied behind our back. Now, it just depends. There are going to be some games where we come out with a freaking hard right cross and knock some of these teams out unexpectedly. And there's other weeks that it's going to really, really look like we're hamstringed. So just jumping right into it. Week 1, right out the gate, we open up with the Saints at home. Now, to put this in perspective, we had not opened up against the Saints since 2014. And I really can't wait for this one. I love this rivalry. I cannot stand the Saints. I do have a number of Saints friends, especially since I worked in the Mobile, Alabama area. It is very much a Saints country down there in the Gulf. Good people. Can't stand the team, but that should be a great way to open up the season, and I will definitely be at that one. Moving right along, just to talk about our division games in general, something that I noticed this year that has been different from the last 4 years is that I feel like we actually are finally well-paced for our division games. So what do I mean by that? Let me just back this up. We have divisional games in weeks 1, 5, 8, 10, 15, and 18. So we open and we close with a divisional game, and they're spread out pretty well in between there. Now, what I mean before is in 2018, we had back-to-back division games twice in that season, so not well-paced. 2019, we had 5 straight divisional games. There was a bye week separating it out there, but 5 straight division games. Again, not well spread out. 2020, 10 weeks where we went through a stretch where every other game was a rival game. And then last year, 2021, again, very similar to 2018, we had back-to-back division games twice. So, I do feel like it's a better pace. There's at least a few games in between all of them. Now, we open with the Saints, and then we get them again week 15 on the road. We go to the Bucs week 5. We get them at home to close the season week 18. We have Carolina. Let me look real quick. They are at home Halloween weekend with week 8. And then we go to them again for Thursday night football on a very, very short week in week 10. So that's going to be a tough little stretch right there. And in general, I think we're going to have a tough go of it for most of the season. We have a week 14 bye. And that, to me, says one thing. We're going to be tired. Welcome to the NFL rookies. You guys are not used to playing more than 11 or 12 games in most of the year, plus or minus a bowl game. Well, now you're playing an entire college football season's worth of games, plus an additional game before you get a bye and then come back and have to do another 5-game stretch to end the season, plus or minus playoffs. I don't think playoffs are in the calling cards for us this year. I have friends who are hopeful. I'm a little bit less so. I'm trying to be a little more realistic about it. But just to go through here, again, weeks 1 through 9, they're going to be incredibly, incredibly tough. We open against the Saints. Could go either way because we don't know the identity of either team yet. They're very, very, very different teams this year. You've got Jameis Winston under center for the Saints, being led by a new coach. Sean Payton has temporarily at least retired. I think he'll end up being back eventually, but maybe not coaching for the Saints. And then the Falcons have a completely new offense. Not necessarily one that is expected to be great, but still a new offense, and you just never know what's going to happen. Arthur Smith does have a good connection with Marcus Mariota. I don't think Desmond Ridder wins the job right out day one. But I do think that he'll probably end up starting, basically weeks 15 onward just to see what we have in him. So we have the Saints at home, and then we go back-to-back weeks on road trips out to the West Coast. So we play the Rams at LA as week 2. That's going to be an incredibly tough game. I don't look for a win there. Then we go to Seattle the week after that. And these are both afternoon games for us. It's basically their 1 o'clock games. But both of those will be tough. Seattle is a winnable game. It just depends, though. They could do some sort of big move to get a quarterback. And if they get a quarterback that's better than Drew Lock or Geno Smith, then that's going to be a really tough game in Seattle. They still have the 12th man. They still are a very intimidating atmosphere. And, again, when you're traveling that far, I always give the team the advantage who is the home team in that scenario. Moving on, we come back. We have week 4 against the Cleveland Browns. We lost out on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, and we get to play him most likely, unless he's suspended, on our own turf. Better team than us overall. Nick Chubb gets to come, and that's one that probably I would be excited to see, just purely to see my old Georgia guy Nick Chubb running the ball. Then we go the next week to Tampa Bay. I don't think we beat Tampa Bay at all this year. Could we surprise them if something happens, maybe an injury to Tom Brady or a couple of offensive line pieces really get hurt and it opens the door for us to be better on defense? Yeah, but I just don't see us winning that game. We come back right after that, and we do have San Francisco. Again, Kyle Shanahan's coming back to Atlanta. That's going to be a really interesting game. A lot of pent-up frustration will probably be on the field during that game, especially from the Falcons fans who feel a certain way about the 28-3 loss to the Patriots back in the 2016 season. But moving on, that one probably is going to be a loss. I just feel like they are the better team. It just really depends on what their identity is and how injuries are going. We have to go to the Bengals right after that. I just don't see us winning that game. I think the Bengals have done a great job this offseason really beefing up all the areas that they were weak in, and I think they're going to be a very complete team that likely will either win or be second place in the AFC North this year. Then we finally get a division rival again with Carolina Panthers. Again, Halloween weekend at home. Probably we are on an even keel with the Carolina Panthers. I think we do have a slight edge overall on our roster. That's probably just me being a biased Falcons fan, but again, that could go either way. I have no clue, but it's going to be a really tough game no matter what. Really, all of these games are going to be tough. We do get another home game right after the LA Chargers. Josh Harris gets to come home, and again, I can't wait to go to that game. That's one I'm really excited to go to. And again, this will be my first time to get to see Justin Herbert live, so I'm kind of excited to see him play. Then we have a very short week. That is on November 6th. On November 10th, we have to play a Thursday night game against Carolina. Again, we go to Carolina for this game. This is our only primetime game. That was another thing I noticed this year. We don't have any primetime. And again, Thursday, you can plus or minus call that primetime. Just because it's a night game, I'm going to give it that designation. I think it'll be one of the most underwatched games except for this particular region. Then, again, from week 10 really through about week 13 are all winnable games, so Carolina is certainly winnable. We get the Chicago Bears at home 10 days later, so kind of have a little mini bye right before our big one. Winnable depending on how Justin Fields has developed. If he's turned into the prospect the Bears hoped he would, we have no hope at all. If he is still struggling, if that line is not good, if the coaching situation isn't great, we definitely have a chance to win that game. Then we go, this one was what I was afraid of, and I actually took a lot of time just to focus purely on this game. Thanksgiving week, that Sunday, 11/27, we have to go to the Washington Commies. This is what I was afraid of the entire time. FedEx Field in November. It is incredible the number of season-ending quarterback injuries that have happened in November at FedEx Field. Just to name a few of them. Joe Burrow, ACL, in November 22nd, 2020. Kyle Allen, dislocated ankle, November 8th, 2020. Alex Smith, compound fibular fracture with complications that almost killed him, November 18th, 2018. RG3, ACL, MCL, meniscus tear, Didn't happen in November, but still happened late in the season in January of 2013. Same thing, RG3 a year and a half later after making recovery. First thing, this is kind of the outlier, but in September of 2014, he dislocated his ankle. And then, obviously, Joe Theismann is probably the biggest name to actually have a career-ending injury at FedEx. And again, November 18th, 1985, he had a compound tibia fibula fracture, and that ended his career. So I am terrified that we have no bye week until week 14. So we're talking about week 12. We're going to be very fatigued. We are going to be at a terrible field. I will be just happy if we come out of this game with no season-ending injuries or no severe injuries. That said, very winnable game. I don't think Carson Wentz is that good. I can't remember who else they have there. I know they took a quarterback in the draft, but I think that maybe they took Sam Howell. But anyway, whoever they took at rookie will likely be starting to see what they have by then, because they're not going to be competing very much either. But again, probably a 50-50 shot. I give the edge to the Commies just because it's their home turf. Then we come home, week 13. We play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Winnable game on paper right now. We'll see what they have in either Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky and what they decide to do with their team. I think on offense, they are a slight favorite compared to us. On defense, they blow us out of the water. So that's going to be a really tough game. Finally, week 14, we get a bye, we get a chance to rest, and it will be much, much, much needed. Coming out of the bye, we go to the Saints. Coming off of a bye, maybe we got a chance there. But again, I do look for the Saints to be the better team this year. Injuries did derail them significantly last year. We'll see what happens this season. Maybe we're the team that gets injured. Maybe everybody around us gets injured, and we end up having some miraculous run. I don't really think it's plausible. We go Christmas Eve to the Baltimore Ravens. Again, tough game. I don't think we win that one. I just think if they are healthy at all, they win that game. Their defense is too good and their offense is too good. New Year's Day, we play Arizona at home. Probably going to lose that one, but I would say that Arizona late in seasons has not been good historically. So that's a team that definitely we could beat, especially if they're struggling. Last year, they started really strong through the first 11 weeks, and then they had a losing record from weeks 12 through 18. So you just never know how things will go. And then I am hoping that we get to see the end of the Tom Brady era with Tampa Bay coming home to close out the season. I was hoping this last season was his last game. It looks like maybe this season will be. But anyways, probably not a winnable game. So all in all, I look for us to optimistically have a ceiling around 5 or 6 wins. That's still going to put us probably in the top 5 of draft selections this next year. And again, this is just a really tough year. This is a tough schedule. We have all of our NFC South rivals. We have the NFC North. We have the AFC North, the NFC West, and then the Chargers. We got to play them. We got to play the Commies, the Bears. It's just not going to be an easy season overall. And I think there's going to be a lot of competitive games, and that's really what I'm looking and hoping for this year. If we have a lot of less than 10-point differential games, I will feel much better about where we are, and I will be very, very happy going into the 2023 season. We still don't know what's going to happen with Calvin Ridley next year. I don't look for him to be back. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the season as a whole. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing. It'll help us out. And as always, rise up.